The Republicans have been on a warpath against many different minorities. And unfortunately, the latest is Jewish Americans. And there was an extreme right-winger who did the attack in Pittsburgh, killed 11 people at a Jewish synagogue, 6 others injured. And I want to tell you about what a Republican politician is doing. But before we do that, we sent Emma Vigeland, our reporter, to cover a Trump rally down in Florida. And I thought that this gentleman that she ran into was unfortunately emblematic of a lot of the right wing these days. Now, get a load of what you see tattooed on his back. Let's watch.
So that's Obama. That's Hillary Clinton. Who's that? Oh, down there, Osama bin Laden?
No, that's the Ayatollah Khomeini. And then the worst enemy of the United States is on top. Don't you know who that is?
On top,
George Soros, who is the worst enemy of the United States.
So on your back, you got George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Obama, and the Ayatollah?
As negative, not positive.
Right.
You can see Michael the Archangel casting the demon into the abyss, and then you have below them the enemies of the United States and its Constitution.
So can you explain why Soros, Obama, Clinton, and the Ayatollah are the enemies of the state?
Oh, come on, you know that. If you don't know that, you shouldn't be at a Trump rally. That means that you are... You're 101 if you don't know George Soros is the biggest, largest donator to anti-American causes.
Okay, so this conspiracy theory against George Soros has been anti-Semitic from the day one. And so if you notice, he is above Obama, the president. Hillary Clinton, who ran for president, was Secretary of State. And randomly, again, on top of Khomeini as well, George Soros deeply, deeply opposed to Ayatollah Khomeini. So why is he at the top? Because he's the puppet master. And so if you said, hey, look, they're just against big donors. Well, I love that talk. I'm against big donors. But if you talk about it in terms that are related to their actual donations, the Koch brothers, they're not Jewish, and they give more than Soros does. You got the Mercers, you got Adelson. It's a mixed group of people. It's not remotely just a Jewish phenomenon. Of course not. It's a giant country, and unfortunately, we have open bribery in this country. In fact, the Republican Party revels in it. That is why they succeed so much, is because they buy so much ads with the money that they get from giant corporations and the very, very wealthy. That is a phenomenon that is upsetting to most Americans. But that's a different thing than saying one guy is the puppet master who controls everything and, oh, look at that, he happens to be Jewish. That is an old anti-Semitic trope that has been around for a long, long time. So if you're talking about policy and you say, hey, listen, I want to take the Soros money and the Koch money and the Bloomberg money and all the different kinds of, and by the way, Chevron money and Apple money and giant corporations, whether you like them or you don't like them, Nike, Starbucks, hey, I think they do a lot of positive things in the world, Amazon, et cetera. You want to take all their money out? Great. You want to take the union money out? Great. We should finance elections, the public, not the private entities, because if they do, then the private financing leads to private interests ruling over all of us. But that is not what this guy is talking about. Obviously, he's an incredibly unsophisticated dolt, which is unfortunately very true of a lot of Trump voters. And so he's saying, Soros, he's the main evil guy, and he's an enemy of the Constitution. Your guy, Donald Trump, just said that he would like to rewrite the Constitution and take away birthright citizenship, and he'd like to do it with an executive order. But wait, I thought you guys said you hated executive orders. I thought you said you care about the Constitution and that Soros and Obama were enemies of the Constitution. Here's Donald Trump trying to destroy the Constitution without going through an amendment. If he proposed an amendment, that's a totally different thing, and I'm super open to that. Not on birthright citizenship. He can propose anything he likes, but I would fight against that on policy grounds. But amendments are part of the Constitution, not an executive order that signs away a core part of the Constitution. So the bottom line is they don't actually care about the Constitution. They don't care about any of that. They just keep pushing these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and Donald Trump did it again yesterday. They asked him about the caravan. They said, now there's theories out there that in the right wing, extreme right wing, that Soros is funding the caravan. Total nonsense, totally made up. And other anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. The Jews control everything, including a caravan coming out of Honduras. What the hell would anyone Jewish or Soros have to do with that? And Trump said, yeah, I think that's possible. He's a monster, man. So I said this a long time ago, right when he got into office. I said, look, the bottom of the barrel is anti-Semitism. Once we've gotten there, then all the demons have been released. Because that was logically a forbidden topic in America because of, I don't know, World War II and the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews died. So, and normally politicians in America don't go there. But I realized when I interviewed David Duke back before the 2016 election, right around when the campaign was getting started, David Duke did not talk about blacks or Latinos much. He was obsessed with the Jews. And I noticed that that's what the extreme right wing, at the end of the day, they come back to the Jews. And so, and now it's on their backs, it's tattooed. Trump reinforces it. We got a synagogue attack. We got bombings, including a bomb sent to George Soros. Yet they are totally unrepentant. This is after the bombing. This is after the shooting of the synagogue. Now look, that guy could say, oh, synagogue, I'm not saying it's anti-Jewish. I'm just saying, he's the primary evil, right? Okay, I don't buy that. But secondly, they sent a bomb to Soros's house. Don't care. Because look, that's domestic terrorism and they're cheerleading it. So now we have another case of a Republican politician with another anti-Semitic attack. This guy is state senator in Connecticut, Ed Charmut. And his opponent is Representative Matthew Lesser, who happens to be Jewish. So get a load of the poster that he put up, a flyer criticizing Matt Lesser. It says, vote no on Matt Lesser, and it has a picture of him looking greedy with large eyes, holding a bunch of money. Now, wait a minute. How does that make any sense? First of all, there's an older guy holding onto his piggy bank, but Lesser and the Democrats want to protect Social Security. Mitch McConnell and the Republican leadership have talked about cutting Social Security and Medicare. So why put a money-grubbing picture of someone on a flyer like that, totally irrationally and not connected to anything? Well, hey, look at that. I got a Jewish opponent and he's a money grubber. Oh, oops, did I put out an anti-Semitic flyer? They're disgusting, man. So, of course, he took a lot of heat for that, and he must have gotten the talking to. I don't think it worked. So they put out this statement. Now, I want to read you this statement on his Facebook page, but understand that this is not the Republican candidate. It's his staff that put out this statement. They said, the entire campaign committee, which includes members of the Jewish community, never discussed or considered Mr. Lesser's ethnicity, race, religion, or any other personal characteristics of Mr. Lesser. And it was never our intention for the mailer to be anything more than a reflection of Mr. Lesser's policy record. Right, hilarious. However, it is clear now that the imagery could be interpreted as anti-Semitic. For that, we deeply apologize, as hate speech of any kind does not belong in our society and especially not in our politics. Except you guys are the ones who made the flyer and sent it to everyone. And then when you got your hand caught in the anti-Semitic cookie jar, all of a sudden you're like, oh, hate speech. Oh, there's no place for it. Except for when we were printing the flyers and sending them to everyone. But now we got caught, so we feel bad. Lesser himself pointed out, he said that he had not been contacted by Charmut or state Republican leaders since the mailing went out. So there was no personal apology. There was just a bland statement from his office. What did the candidate himself say, though? Before he was admonished by other Republican leaders, he said, the mailer makes the point that if elected, Matt Lesser will undoubtedly vote to hike people's taxes again and again. Those wishing to portray a graphic illustration as something hateful are completely wrong. So he doesn't believe it. That statement they put out later, that's not him. He didn't sign it. He didn't say it. He didn't call Lesser. He hasn't told anyone in the media that he apologizes for it. And his real reaction was, yes, so what? What are you gonna do about it, right? And if you actually had policy differences and you were worried that that Soros contributes too much, this guy's gonna raise taxes, et cetera, and that their money, are you kidding me? How about your donors? How about your donors, Republicans? But it's not convenient to attack them. One, because they're bribing you. Now, in America, we have the insanity of legal bribes called campaign contributions and independent expenditures. But you like those bribes when they go to Republicans. And number two, some of your donors happen to be Jewish because it's a big country, and a lot of them aren't. Well, that doesn't get fear and hatred going in our base enough. So let's pick one Democratic donor who is Jewish. Let's attack him nonstop. And if you got a Jewish opponent, make him seem like a money grubber too. This is what the Republican Party has been reduced to. That's in Connecticut. That's not in Mississippi. That's in Connecticut. And by the way, very good reason as to why they finally pulled it off is because probably a lot of Republican voters in Connecticut also happen to be Jewish. Of course, not a majority, it's a minority, but and Jewish Americans generally vote for Democrats, over 70% Democrats, but they have to have some voters, supporters, et cetera, that are Jewish in Connecticut that's back the Republican Party. But guess what? You should go to a doctor if you're one of those minorities, Jewish, Latino, Black, Muslim, et cetera, gay American, that is voting for a Republican thinking they're on your side. They're not remotely on your side. They're coming to get you. And they're proud of it. And they got it tattooed on their back. They got it printed in flyers. They got their president egging on anti-Semitism after the synagogue shooting. So that's today's Republican Party. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.